Hello and welcome back, everyone, to what is the final, well, supposedly final week of Season 6 of 2025 here at oNiD. We're here for our own Audi TT Trophy Week 6 here at Club Motorsports. A very interesting track, one that we haven't used before to make up for a finale round. Should be interesting. Will be certainly quite the challenge for our drivers. Can see in the background there just how technical this track is. A lot of corners, very few straights for them to enjoy, for them to make use of those push to passes around. Will certainly be challenging, not just in qualifying to get that perfect lap in, but also in the race to not make any mistakes. Overtaking will be difficult too, especially when it gets to that reverse grid race where the drivers will have to make overtakes. We will have our partial, of course, as usual, reverse grid. 3 15-minute plus 1 lap races coming up. But of course, we're getting into our first qualifying session. Before we have a little look at that, let's just have a look at the standings. It is Alfie Bevan out front, leading 9 points ahead of James Pavot. However, both drivers unfortunately unable to make our final round today. So Johan, the furthest driver up for a field, however, 115 points behind with a drop round. Unfortunately, I don't think it is possible for him to close in on the top two enough. Then we have Yuri Shore, Jacob Hine, Ash Hill, Zach Silver, and Stevie Bain. All 8 of our pro drivers just about leading the front 8 spots on the overall standings. Anton Kankas, though, only 6 points off Stevie Bain. Could maybe be a bit of a thorn. And the highest place driver in that overall championship has Sean McGardle, our other Adam, and Alex Wood that leads the top 12. Have a look at the class standings. Of course, very similar to the overall. 84 points separate Johan to Alfie Bevan at the front of the field. James 15 points back. Yuri Shore in 4th, just 18 points, ahead of Jacob Hine. Ash Hill only 3 points further back. Stevie Bain 11 points further back. Zach Silver struggling a lot more in the pro standings than in the overall in the pro standings compared to the overall. It's going to be difficult. He's going to be looking to try and jump up, but really sort of those bottom 5 positions, 4th to 8th, could swap around depending on how this evening goes. In the AM standings, it is Anton Kankos that leads, only 11 points ahead of Sean McGardle. Our other Adam sits in 3rd, 10 points ahead of Alex Wood. Ben Beams in P5. Those are the standings, but the drivers already out in qualifying. We're a few minutes into the session. Let's switch now to Zach Silver, who's going to be the first driver to set a lap time round this relatively short circuit. The sun blasting down on it, a very bright sunny day, and first lap not valid. It instead will be Johan who gets the first. It goes to the top of the timesheets and will reset to the pit lane this time. Anton Kankos coming up to the line will be up to 2nd, 31.5 for their first flying lap. 1.2 seconds off the top, narrowly beating out Jacob Hine. Let's say Sean McGardle themselves are coming up to the line behind this 3-car train. Where will they pop up to? They take P2, 31.4, just a fraction ahead of Ash Hill as well. Still over a second back from the front of the field. Still waiting on a couple of times to come in. Lucas Smits coming through the final section of corners. It looks to have messed up that double left-hander. Still getting to grips with this technical track and is coasting down to the end as they prepare themselves for another lap. Adam Ide on a lap, meanwhile, a little further back, coming through the same sequence of corners. Coming up to this final corner, very open final corner. You can take quite a few different lines through here. Could open up some good opportunities for racing. Adam a little bit wide of the apex, but might not suffer too much with that. Up to the line now, which isn't the blue strip across the track. It's just a little further down, and then running wide into T1. That will not do his next lap any favours. More times coming across the line. Jacob Hine getting up to 2nd place once again. Let's go to Cancos, who has a little bit of traffic in the final corner with Ben Myatt. Looks like might have to give up this lap. Or might stick with this and have to give up their next lap. No improvement this time around. Adam has already completed this lap. Alex Wood popping up into 7th place. Sean McArdle coming up to the line, looking to improve as we're just over halfway into the session. Not improving this time for Sean McArdle. Bit of traffic for them as well. So again, go to Lucas Smits. Oh, he has a bit of front end damage this lap. Doesn't look to have been much better for them. Let's get the improvements, see who is improvements. Looks like Stevie Bean is improving as they're coming through the middle sector. Lots of left-handers here. Gotta get the line right. This last final left-hander, bit tight, uses the exit curb. And then he's weighing into this long, tightening right-hander. Want to make sure you get a late apex. Stevie going for a bit of an early apex. We'll leave him a bit wider on the exit. Can compromise you for the left-handers here coming up. And again, just running a little bit wide, has to get out of the throttles. It's going to cost him a bit of momentum down to the final corner. Luckily, it's not too long of a run. Cuts the car in, holding the car tighter on the exit, eventually running out to the curb. But it's run now for Stevie. First flying lap across line, and it's actually slow lap. Our sector times not quite coming up correctly. Ash Hill on a decent lap as Adam up into the 130s, second car into the 130s to put themselves second place, top of the AM drivers. But we're following Ash Hill here. See if they can find themselves into the top 3. Very mixed between the pros and the AMs at the moment. Across the line now for Ash Hill, jumps up to P4 only momentarily. It's Sean McArdle right in behind them, jumps up to P3. Let's go back to Stevie, who's back into the middle sector, coming into these left-handers. Again, mentioning just how technical this track is. Very few points to rest. Through here, you want to miss this apex to give yourself a better line through this tighter left-hander that ends the sequence. Stevie had to take a little lift there from the understeer developing in the car. Now on the brakes, taking a tighter entry and a little earlier apex. Holds the car a little bit tighter, but maybe give up a little bit of time there. Trying to get a slightly better line through this left-hander. Had to take a little bit of a lift. Not as big of a lift as last time, though. Onto the brakes for the final corner. With just how wide it is, it invites you to brake later than you dare. Runs a bit wider. Meets the exit curb a little bit sooner. Up to the line now for Stevie. There it is. And we'll pop up into P5. Anton Kankos in the middle sector now. Again, using all of that curb as they head up to this tightening right-hander. Trying to go for a later apex. Can they get the car into that later apex? No, just sort of runs wide of it. And tries to open up the double left-hander here. Again, had to take a little lift just like Stevie into the final corner. Taking a tighter entry. Misses the apex a little bit. Certainly using all of the track on the exit. Now up to the line. Can Kankos improve from P7? It is. It's up to P3, just getting ahead of Sean McArdle. That's 3 AM drivers in the top 4. Stevie Bean on another decent lap. We'll be trying to break up that cluster of AM drivers that are certainly outperforming a lot of our pro drivers this evening. Wider entry, a little bit of a lock-up there, it seems like, but holding that apex a bit tighter than what we saw from Kankos. And keeping it tight on the exit, opening up these 2 left-handers again. Still had to take a little bit of a lift, but the lifts are getting smaller and smaller into the final corner. Again, a little bit of locking. Runs the car wide, using all of the curb, even clips the raised part of the curb on the exit. Has lost a bit of time though, so it doesn't look like it's going to be improvement for Stevie this time. And it isn't yet. Go back to Kankos, who seems to be the next driver improving. Drivers struggling to find improvements. In fact, let's go a little further up to Adam Ely, who's currently sitting down in 14th place. Is on for a personal best though, as Kankos lost a bit of time in the middle sector. Now down to the final corner. See one of the cars heading into the pits. That's Sean McArdle, as session time has ran out. Up to the line now then for Adam Ely. Can he improve from 14th position? Gets up to P12, up one row on the grid. Maybe would have wanted a bit more. Seems a little bit frustrated. Stevie Bean seems to be one of the last drivers on a flying lap. I think Alex Wood just also got across the line. Stevie sitting in P6, but it's third within the pro class. We'd like to try and find a bit more time, though it doesn't seem to be coming to them. Not improving so far. Runs a little bit wide, and that will be lap done for Stevie Bean. Let's go to Alex Wood, our last driver on a lap. Also not improving after the first sector. Currently sitting P9, which is 4th place within the AM, so with 4 pro drivers between them and the next placed AM driver. Might not be easy for them to take an AM podium, but still not too bad of a qualifying session for them. Just a few corners to go, though again not improving in the session. Can see how close it is between some of the AM drivers. Jacob Hind just missing out. Very close within the field. Should make for some great racing, but across the line now for Alex Wood, and it is not an improvement on their final lap. So then, first qualifying session done of 10 minutes, and it is Johan Karlzak that is on pole position, as we miss the 2 championship contenders, Alfie Bevan and James Lepavot. Johan able to take the spoils then, with firm margin, nearly 6 tenths back to Adam in 2nd place, leading the AMS field on the front row of the grid. Certainly a very good result for them, but the other AM drivers shortly follow. Anton Kankos is in 3rd overall. Sean McArdle in P4, all AM 2nd row. They'll be looking to challenge Adam for the win in the class. Behind those AM drivers, we have a cluster of pro drivers. Jacob Hind just missing out on the 2nd row, ahead of Stevie Bean. Ash Hill will be in P7 with Zach Silver in P8 before we get to our 4th AM driver. Alex Wood back on the 5th row of the grid. They'll be sharing it alongside Uri Shore. He'll be looking to progress within that pro class. Christian Overstreet is in P11. Head of Adam Ely in 12th. Lucas Mitz down in 13th after a good showing, a bit of a stronger showing at Zolder, but struggling more this week at Club Motorsports. And then Ben Beams and Ben might round out our 15 car grid, and we will now see on the grid a very technical track will make it difficult for these drivers to pass. Will they be aggressive on the start, knowing full well that it could end in them getting involved in an incident? Could result in them being sort of finding the grass on the outside of a corner, dropping down the field, which could be ever so costly, especially with how close the field is between 3rd and 7th. I mean, a couple of tenths, less than a couple of tenths, separating those 5 cars. And where we'll find people opportunities to pass. The lights are coming on then for our first race of the evening. And it's lights out, way we go then. It's a good start from Johan, but just about levelled by Adam, it looks like. Adam looking to the outside, realising it's not the place to be. Will hold back in 2nd place as drivers come through now. Sean getting a good start, getting in front of Kankos. Looks like we've had quite a few spots, and Jacob Hind getting spun out, unfortunately, sideways across the field. Will drop down to the back of the field as they try and do a 3-point maneuver. Uri Shore onto the grass as well, and that is Ash Hill spinning onto the grass as well. Disaster for a lot of our pro drivers. Meanwhile, the AM drivers taking full advantage of the chaos on the opening lap. Adam Ely making good start, up 3 places already, trying to get a 4th spot on Alex Wood. Not quite able to get the move done, but just in front of Lucas Smits. Even better start, up 6 places. I see in the background Ben Might trying to make a move round the outside of Ben Beams. Not quite coming to fruition, looking to the inside, but just compromising his line there. Picks up the understeer, and it's good. Uri Shore to have a run on the outside to this long, tightening right-hander. Can Uri Shore be brave enough on the brakes? Ben, the rear just stepping out, causing him to slip a little bit wide. That opened the door for Uri to come back on the inside. They come together as the lines converge. Uri Shore eventually winning out as a little further in front. Adam Ede trying once again to get the move, trying to go for a dive. More door-to-door contact. Front-wheel drive, these cars helping them to straighten themselves up, and it'll be side-by-side towards the first, or not side-by-side. Adam having to fall back in line from Alex Wood, and Ben Beams starting to pull themselves into this battle as well. A little further back, Ash Hill trying to get the move done, and will get the move done on Ben Might to take one place back. Jacob Hines still a bit of distance to try and catch up to the field. Meanwhile, Zach Silver challenging Stevie Payne, looking for a gap into that uphill right-hander. Not quite able to make a move there. Stevie, quite a bit of damage, got caught up with an instant, managed not to lose any positions, but might be vulnerable. Zach Silver again looking to the inside of the right-hander. Stevie leaves them the room. Zach not quite able to complete the move here. Is going to compromise Stevie's run through this left-hander. Look at that, running wide, getting on to that outside curb. But Zach's still looking for space, runs a little bit wide themselves, gets onto the grass. As they're following up the hill, Stevie a little wide onto the grass once again. Who isn't running on the grass in this battle? As they come into tightening right-hander, Stevie just about holding on for now. Let's go on board with Zach to see how he's trying to set this move up. Try and go for a bit of a cutback here. Open the line up. Think about a move into the final corner. It's not that big of a braking zone. Meanwhile, into the back of them, Lucas Smits, costing Zach quite a bit of time there. Now allow Alex Wood to come through and pick up both of those places. As Johan from the field picks up the fastest lap of the race, but unfortunate there for Zach Silver, just getting bumped in the back by Lucas Smits. Alex Wood taking full advantage of that. And Zach's going to have his work cut out. Oh, making a mistake here and running onto the grass. Will lose a couple more positions to Lucas Smits and Adam Ide. That's just in the background. Ash Hill making a move on Uri Shore, placing them into P4 within the pro class, despite being so far back. Seeing some pushed passes here on this short run. As you come to this downhill braking zone, the track just opens up a little bit, can invite you to maybe go for a move if you're close enough. And could be one of our overtaking opportunities as we head through the race. Stevie being most active driver on the push pass, trying to use it on this uphill left-hander, which is quite brave as the car understeers out. You'd think using that push pass would just cause it to understeer even more, make it even more difficult. But he is being caught by Alex Wood here. That damage likely not helping. Alex Wood not quite close enough to points just yet. Zach Silver into the pits, it seems like. And Ben Might also taking a trip through the pit lane. That's put them a lap down. Let's go on board with Alex Wood as they try and chase down Stevie, getting a little too hot into the right-hander. Gets onto the grass, heavily compromising them. Sort of seems like a little bit of a similar mistake to what Zach made last lap. Of course, don't know how damage influenced that. Both drivers running a little bit wide, trying to put the power down, get the best exit possible here. Alex Wood a little later on the brakes, not close enough for a move itself, but just keeping the pressure on. Meanwhile, further in front, Anton Kankos has closed up to Sean McArdle and is putting the pressure on for an overall podium. Already sitting on the podium within the AMS class. But how sweet would it be to put themselves on that overall podium? And of course, fight for the AMS championship here. Sean trailing Kankos by 11 points That position could be very important as Alex Wood making a mistake, I think. Past. Yes, making a mistake, getting into the barrier, according to the timing screen. And that has dropped them down behind Lucas Smits. Unfortunately, that chase on Stevie Bean now leaving them under pressure from Adam Ely. Jip Gabhai making a move on Yuri Shore, who's going to be the next driver into pit lane. There is no mandatory pit stop in this race, but quite a few of our drivers having to find themselves in pit lane. Adam Ely and Alex Wood going side by side through the little S's that narrow up. Bit of wheel-to-wheel contact. Alex Wood, unfortunately, coming off worse, has to go onto the grass, and will lose out to Adam Ely and Ash Hill, who's just bumped Adam a little bit wider. Adam's going to use the push to pass here to defend, not allow Ash to have the inside as they come up towards the right-hander. And is going to try and defend this one a little bit longer. A lot of action in this race so far. We're not even halfway through yet. Stevie Bean burning through those push to passes. Has used 9 of them so far this race. Not even halfway through. Will run out before the end. Could find themselves under pressure as Ash Hill looking to the inside on Adam Ely, just about avoiding contact there. But you can see Ash Hill is pushing all they can, trying to find the space. They have the pace. It's just about finding the space to make a clean move work. Trying different lines through the final corner. Ash Hill on the push to pass. Adam Ely is going to chase him all the way over to the inside line, not following with the push to pass. On the outside then for Ash Hill, they've got the nose just in front. Adam Ely's going to run it a little bit deep, and that allows Ash Hill to get a cutback as they head towards this right-hander, and it should be move done then for Ash Hill up into P7. And will now try and go chasing down after Lucas Smits. Fight for the lead was closing in a little bit earlier. Adam was only about half a second off, but has dropped back this lap. So maybe just making a little mistake. This track is quite relentless in its corners. They're just one after another. Little time to rest. A lot of them feeding directly into the next. So if you mess one up, the mistake is just sort of amplified, the time lost. And seems to be this way for Adam this lap. Last time both of them did 130.6 and 130.7 for them respectively. Let's see what the times are this lap. 30.3 for Johan, picking the pace up a little bit. Adam, 31.2, quite a bit slower. Still faster than the cars behind, as Kankos pushing on to try and catch up to Sean McArdle. Was a hint faster, but still has a bit of a gap to close in to. Can see Ash Hill 8 tenths quicker than Lucas Smits last lap, already trying to close in that gap. Lucas Smits not too far from the back of Stevie Bean as well. Runs a little bit wide there onto the grass. We'll just compromise him a little bit up to this right-hander. Thankfully isn't too long of a run, so doesn't lose too much time. But now Ash Hill within a second. Liga using a push to pass to try and close back up the time that they lost from that mistake. Stevie Bean being a lot more conservative on their push passes, having only used one in the last few minutes. You can see how much Lucas Smits is pushing, running out a little bit wide there, runs wide again, is having to lift. Still keeping up with Stevie though, closing in. That damage, I think, being the main struggle for Stevie. Lucas Smits on the brake, the rear end just stepping out as they try and get the car slowed down before going into the back of Stevie. Lucas Smits wants the inside for the final corner, tries to go the long way round for the left-handers that precede it, but it's just too long of a way round. You can see Ash Hill has closed up now. The push to pass is lighting up as they come out of the final corner. Down the start-finish straight, Lucas Smits closing in with the slipstream with Stevie's damage. Has a look to the inside. That is a short braking zone. That is not a place where he can make a move. Both of them running wide subsequently. And Ash Hill with the run is good, trying to hang it the long way round Lucas Smits. That's a very brave move. Gets the car slowed down to prevent themselves from running wide. And it's up to P6 for Ash Hill. Next driver in their sights, Stevie being, well, it might be P5 overall. This is second place within the pro class. Such is the strength of some of the AM drivers tonight. Heading towards the downhill right-hander. Ash not quite close enough for a move this time by. Does have 3 more pushed passes left than Stevie. Stevie running out wide. They're nearly into the barrier, never mind the grass. And that's allowed Ash Hill to close up. Ash Hill nowhere to go now. We'll be putting Morse code on the bumper, but Lucas Smits with the run, but nowhere to go as Ash Hill covers it off. And they head into the hairpin just as they were. Can see how the front 4 have broken away from Stevie with that damage, using their pushed passes down the start-finish straight. Kankos still on the back of Sean McArdle, closed up 4/10 last lap. And here we go again with the battle for 5th place. Ash Hill with the run on the outside. Is Stevie Bean there? Stevie Bean is going to try and keep it there on the inside. They're side by side. Lucas Smits with the run, but nowhere to go at the moment. Is now looking to the outside of Stevie, but Stevie just about shuts the door, but only after Ash Hill gets through for P5. Stevie Bean just struggling with that damage. Ash Hill's going to try and break away now. 13 seconds, too much to ask for, but I'm sure he will give it his best shot. Meanwhile, 5 the podium for overall and within the AMS class. Kankos making their way around Ben Maitz, who just runs a little bit wide there onto the grass. Quite a lot wide there, actually, meeting the barrier. Kankos following suit, running a bit wide themselves, losing a bit of time. Go on board with Kankos as they try and close this gap up. Kankos 3 more pushed passes than Sean McArdle. Not a lot of time to use them though. We'll be going on to the penultimate lap of the race as the leader crosses the line. So 2 laps to get this move done. Kankos really has more pushed passes left than they have time to use them. A little bit wide for Sean McArdle. Shows just how much they're pushing to try and stay in front here. Closing up on the brakes on the entry is Kankos. Loses a little bit on the exit. Such is the concertina effect. Sean runs a little bit wide on the exit there. Both drivers on the push to pass, but Sean with just a little bit more traction. A little bit deep from Kankos there. Sean getting a good run, pulling out a bit of a gap. You can see the wide line they take into this sequence of left-handers. Trying to carry the momentum up the hill. And once again, Kankos has just dropped back a few car lengths. Tighter line on the entry for Kankos, but wider on the exit. Look how much more compromised they are into this sequence of left-handers than Sean. Sean, though, not able to get to the apexes. A little bit wide. Not taking full advantage of the compromise they made just a corner ago. As they come on to the start-finish line, it will be just 1 lap to go, but there's also a battle further back. Alex Wood trying to catch up to Adam Ely. Looking to the inside here, you gotta be careful. The driver in front will almost certainly chop your nose off. And a couple of cars lining up here, including Jacob Hine, trying to recover after that lap 1 incident that put them to the back of the field. Alex Wood showing themselves in the mirror of Adam Ely. not quite able to make a move as Jacob Hein continues to close up, just has to find a way through, get themselves into the top 10. And will send it to the inside of the right-hander. Can Alex Wood get the cut back on the exit? He'll try. Jacob using a push to pass, and with the acceleration will just about hold out in front. And will hold on to the place. And we'll see if they can try and get one more place from Alex Wood or Adam Ely, as they still shadow one another. But meanwhile, at the front of the field, coming out of the final corner, using their penultimate push to pass, it's Johan who's taken a dominant victory here today. And the rest of the podium then will be filled with AM drivers. Adam challenged Johan in the first part of the race, fell back in the second part, unfortunately, will take class win and an overall podium in second. Sean McArdle will take the final overall podium spot, second in the AMS class, just about holding in front of Anton Kankos. Ashhill will come through for second in the Pro Class P5 overall, as fine big contact it looks like between Jacob Hein and Alex Wood at the final corner. Then Alex Wood not getting to the line before Ben Beams has taken the final top 10 position. Jacob Hein getting both of them. But close and great fighting up and down the grid right until the end. Zach Silver will come home in 12th place overall, having to pit for damage. Chris Overstreet a lap down off the lead will come through for 13th position, with Ben Myatt and Uri Shore in the pits, not finishing the race after both of them involved in a couple of incidents, and they too had to pit for damage. A very chaotic, very difficult first race for our drivers, but quite a bit of action as Shrek is trying to find his first, it seems like. It's maybe not nature for the car, but the livery somehow makes it fit in. Could do a nature documentary on this. And here we see a wild Audi TT hunting in the woods. Well, those are our final results then of the field. A little bit of a messy first race. That's not too surprising with the technicalities of the circuit. After a couple of early moments, it didn't necessarily settle down, but it certainly tidied itself up and made for some good racing action. Unfortunately, someone who didn't make it to the end of that race, but maybe enjoyed watching it at least, it's Ben. Ben, your luck doesn't get any better in this series, does it?
No, it doesn't seem to have worked out well for me, this one. Which is weird, because it's usually my sort of thing, front-wheel drive cars, but, yeah. Oh well, it is what it is. It's good fun anyway. And that's all we really hope for.
Yeah. But
just waiting for the server to tick down, but yeah, still 2 races left, so we'll see what we can do.
Yep, still 2 races. Anything can happen. Quite a lot happened in that first race, and reverse grid race coming up. Plenty we could see.
I mean, some of my worst luck has been on the reverse grid, so I'm hoping not to get on pole again this time.
Yeah, or
we'll
maybe this track, with just how technical it is, maybe you could just break away at the front, get away.
Definitely chances and options to make moves around here. I had a very good start, so we'll see where we can go from there next time. I just got unlucky with the tyre barrier.
Those tyre barriers. No love runoff here. I guess they were quite pesky in how they...
yeah.
The car not fond of them.
No, and if you get your exit wrong from one corner as you're on the throttle when the understeer kicks into them, you are aiming directly for them. So it's they don't reach out and grab you. You more go and say hello to them.
And with how the corners are around here, make a mistake through one corner and it likely compromises you through the next.
Absolutely. So it's definitely going to be an interesting evening.
Certainly going to be interesting. Talking about the reverse grid, shall we draw how many?
Yes. Let's see where we end up.
We've had a lot of low numbers this season. We eventually got a high number last time. Seems a bit on the lower end again this evening. Maybe for the best. We will see the top 12 positions reversed from race 2 to set the grid for race 3.
It's an interesting one. Could put us in for some good racing, depending on definitely some interesting places to make up. So we'll see what we can do.
Yeah, certainly not a lot of places to effectively, I suppose, use that push to pass. Could certainly be very interesting.
No, it's it's not giving you many options tactically this time. You're having to really make use of following the cars in front. So it's we'll see what we can pull out of the bag.
Yeah,
But I shall leave you, and I will jump back over to the others and
ho-
get the server running.
hopefully, hopefully some good luck will come your way before season end here tonight.
It'd be nice, wouldn't it?
You deserve some.
Okay. We'll catch you later.
Talk to you later, Ben. So, Ben, jumping in as we make the reverse grid draw, top 12 positions for from race 2 will be reversed to set the grid for race 3. So as a reminder, our format, we've had our first 10-minute qualifying session, our first of 3 15-minute plus 1 lap races. So we will now head into a short warm-up session. Drivers will have a few minutes to get put some laps in, get themselves familiarised with the circuit again, especially those that had damage, had to maybe drive it a little bit differently to accommodate for that. They can settle into seeing what a fresh, undamaged car feels like. But as they try and set themselves into the top 12, that means 3 drivers will unfortunately miss out. But who knows, with what we've seen in that first race, a couple of the pro drivers in that mid pack getting finding misfortune, maybe it might be a better place to start the back and pick off the casualties if there are any on the opening lap. So of course, 5-minute qualifying session will be then after that, so much shorter, half the time, less laps to try and get that perfect lap in. Have to imagine Johan will be able to take another pole position, but can the AM drivers pull in another good result, get themselves a good grid position? We will just have to wait and see. So let's just go through the results from the first race. It was Johan Karlzak taking the win ahead of Adam in second, Sean McArdle in third, Anton Kankos in fourth. That is going to be important when it comes to the AM Championship. Ash Hill is in P5. Good recovery from them ahead of Stevie Bean, who hung on really well with the damage and seemed to be struggling quite a bit with it. Lucas Smith got up into P7 after a difficult qualifying ahead of Adam Ely. Jacob Hine recovering to P9 at the last moment, getting ahead of Ben Beams and Alex Wood. Alex will be a little bit disappointed, was fighting a little further up, but a couple of mistakes and unfortunate wrong place, wrong time got the better of them. Zach Silver wasn't able to recover, fell down to 12th. Chris Overstreet falling fall of an instant or a couple of mistakes, being 13th. Bema, as we just heard, found himself in the barriers on a couple of occasions, and so did Uri Shore. Those two, unfortunately, not making the finish. And before we get to our qualifying session, let's just pull up and see how one of our drivers, at least, is spending this warm-up session. This is the kart track here. Taking some time to lap around it. Maybe we'll go on board for a lap after. We just have a little reminder of what those standings are. So again, Alfie Bevan, James Leprevost not here tonight, so they'll finish as they are in standings. But it should be a big enough gap, especially with the drop round, to stay ahead of Johan in third. Then Ure in fourth, Jacob in fifth, Ash Hill in sixth. Ash Hill will be closing in on Jacob this evening, looking to take that final spot in the top 5. And let's have a look at the class standings. Actually, I'm just going to pull this away for a moment. Another driver has come and joined the party at the kart track, and they find themselves going the opposite way around it. Just thought I would share. So look at those class standings. Of course, pro standings very similar. Ashel will definitely be jumping into P5 there. You're sure might be under threat for P4. That will certainly be very close. Stevie Bain will be closely following too. Another good couple of races here. Could see Stevie leap up a little bit. And then Sean McArdle would have closed down that 11-point lead in the AM standings. Remember, this is not updated after the first race. This is coming into this race. There is a drop round to consider in. So yeah, not simple calculation at all. But yeah, will be somewhat important. Shall we now? Let's see. I believe, yes, one of the drivers that is on the kart track, as they're racing around. I don't know if we have... Nope, the off-board cameras certainly don't show the kart track. And I think that is what we call a push to pass right there. Jacob demonstrating perfectly what not to do in a race. And nearly mistaking the pit lane for the actual track. I think Ben Beams, yeah, Ben Beams, the other one. Doing a little bit of driving around the kart track as we wait for our second qualifying session to begin. Reminder, only 5 minutes for the drivers to set their lap times. Lap times of about 1 minute 30 seconds. We'll see the drivers able to get 3 flying laps in if they get out of the pits quickly. If they decide to wait, try and get themselves a little bit more space, they will likely only get... Or sorry, 4 flying laps if they get out quickly. If not, they will only get 3. Of course, those laps could very easily disappear. Or let me... Sorry, 3 flying laps. Yes, I was right first time. 3 good flying laps in if they're quick. Only 2 if it takes them... if they're a bit slow or find themselves looking for a bit of space. But who knows? A bit of space might be more beneficial. Last thing you want is to be on your final flying lap and then have someone just hold you up, bed traffic, and away goes the lap. Having the pace, but nothing to show for it. So then, with that, our quali session begins, and our drivers start making their way out into this very narrow pit exit. You can see some drivers opting to wait a little bit, others rushing to get out as quickly as they can. Front of the queue. Not very sure. It is Zach Silver, front of the queue with clear air. Johan in second. But the question is, can the pro drivers get themselves a little further up, not have so many AM drivers in front of them? Or will the AM drivers get one over them once again for the second time this evening? Can already see the different lines. It might only be an outlap, but good demonstration there of the different lines from the drivers through here. Looks like Johan is going to ask, may I take the lead of this queue? Zach Silver, rather happy or reluctantly, does give up the lead and will follow Johan through. Our pole sitter and race winner of race 1, not a bad driver to be following. Maybe can learn something or two from the lines that they take. Let's go on board with Johan as they go on for their first flying lap into the final corner. Get the power on as early as you dare. Run the car, use all of the track on the exit, bouncing over that outside curb just a little bit. The first part is just painted flat, second but does race at the end. Braking then for turn 1, it's a short braking zone. Fling the car in, careful not to run too wide. Take a little bit of the pit exit to open up the right-hander. It's a second right-hander. You can carry more speed through, but you've got to start slowing yourself down. The track tightens up as you come into this left-hander. Don't run it in too deep as you'll compromise your exit as you continue to climb up the hill. Through this little right-hander, but really it just settles you up for this tight right-hander. Sort of Red Bull Ring, turn 3, that hairpin like. Then you go over the crest and start to head downhill. The track opens up on the left-hand side. Heavy braking for this quite open right-hander. Don't use all the track on the exit. You want to bring the car back to the right. Open up the long left-hander here. You want to set this up as well as you can. Carry as much speed on the exit. Careful not to run wide as you head through these left-handers. Easy flat out. Miss that apex there to open up this final apex as you try and hang it flat out. Johan not quite able to take it flat out. Heavy on the brakes as you try and straighten up the braking zone for this long right-hander. Quite open at first, but really tightens up to sort of this open hairpin. Don't use all the track again on the exit as you want to open up the 2 left-handers, especially this final one. Again, the lift for Johan, not quite able to take it flat out. Then set yourself up for the final corner. Heavy on the brakes, Johan trying to turn the car in early. Takes an early apex, runs a little bit wider on the exit, trying to carry all the speed they can onto start-finish straight once again and up to the line. Our first flying lap of the session will be a 1:30.1. That is a competitive time. Zach Silver 1.4 seconds off. Let's see, Adam is actually out of position. Ash Hill coming up to the line now. Ben Beams goes up to P3. It's only momentarily. Ash Hill up to second. Sean McArdle up to third. And Don Cankos a 10th back in P4. Runs very wide on this lap. And that could be their qualifying session done. Adam Ely will be next cross line after Alex Wood gets up to P6. Adam Ely into P8. Then our leading driver of the AMS from our first quali and race, our other Adam, yet to set a valid lap, waited quite a bit, waited for clean air. Might be working out for them. Johan has reset to the pits. That is their qualifying session done, but I don't think they needed another lap, and they obviously don't think so either. Into the final corner for Adam, runs it in quite deep, very wide of the apex, wider than they would have liked. Will have one more lap to try and set that right as they come up to the line. Their first flying lap will not be valid. Lucas Smits next to cross line, but again not on a valid lap as Zach Silver comes across line, able to improve. No, not that time. And we now have everyone coming cross line. Yuri Shore gets up a couple of places, so does Chris Overstreet. Jacob Hine up to P5. His time runs out. The session is done. Sean McGardle up to line. Able to improve on his final lap? No. Anton Kankos not able to improve. So it'll be Sean McGardle currently in provisional pole. Ben Myatt coming across the line now will get in front of Adam, who is on their final flying lap. Adam Ely has just come into the pits. So next up, it will be that Adam who's coming up through the left-handers. Again, big lift there, under 50% throttle for a moment. Up to the hill, lifts off, a little bit of coasting into this right-hander. Very tight on the entry, it must be said, for what will be their only valid flying lap here. I'll be starting 13th on the grid as things stand, maybe a little further back with more laps to come. Into the final corner then, runs it in very deep. Apex in there somewhere, nowhere near Adam's line though, and what was a pole position in the first qualifying session in the AMS class, second on the grid. Across the line this time, it is only P8, does get themselves P3 within the AMS. Lucas Metz just misses out and will drop in behind in P8. Zach Silver will be next cross line, currently in P7, aborts lap just beforehand. Uri Shore coming across the line doesn't improve. Stevie Bean, their only valid lap, that put Stevie Bean in P3. Second row of the grid for Stevie. A good result for them and will hopefully lead to a good race. So let's go through the top order. The top three, all pro drivers this time. Johan, again, taking dominant pole position, over 7/10 the margin this time. Ashil takes second on the front row. Stevie Bean narrowly missing out 0.04 of a second to getting on the front row, but ahead of all the AM drivers, importantly. Sean McGardle will be the first AM driver. Second row of the grid for them, just in front of Anton Kankos. A little over a 10th separates the two, fighting for the AM championship. Both of them in the top 5 overall this qualifying session, just in front of Jacob Hine, who will sit alongside Kankos on the third row. Uri Shore is in P7, ahead of Zach Silver in P8. Other Adam, such a strong first qualifying session, struggling in the second, is down in P9. Lucas Smits just behind in P10. Alex Wood and Ben Beams make up the 6th row of the grid together. Have Christian Overstray in 13th. Adam Ely, bit disappointing, didn't get a great lap in, is in 14th, and Ben Myatt also not getting a good lap in, and will be starting from the back row of the grid, hoping to avoid any and all of the chaos that might come. I'm sure Ben is hoping that there is some chaos for them to take advantage of. So we see the drivers on the grid once more as they'll be getting ready for the second race. Ashel will showing good pace, will be hoping to keep it clean, capitalise on the pace that they have and showed in the first race, not get caught up or held back by any incidents. Stevie Bean will be hoping to avoid damage and show some pace as well this race. What about Jacob Hine, Sheree, Zach Silver in behind the AM Championship battle? You know those AM drivers are going to fight hard for it. How involved will they get? Will they sit back, maybe leave themselves vulnerable to each other? Or they risk it all? Risk being involved in another incident just to try and get a couple of places. The lights are coming on then for the second time this evening. And we're away for the second race. It's still a good start from Johan. Good start from Sean McGardle, who pulls in front of Stevie Bean. Will try and hang it round the outside here and take third place. Put cars between them and Kankos, who's had a poor start and has dropped back behind Jacob Hine into the technical section uphill. Looks like Zach Silver has been involved in an incident as well as Christian Overstreet at the first corner. Unfortunately, both of them dropping off the back of the field, looking to the inside. Stevie Bean on Sean McGardle, like get together on the exit. Stevie heading towards the barrier, and once again Stevie picking up damage and dropping towards the tail end of the field. Ashel trying to fight get ahead of Sean McGardle as Uri Shore trying to put the pressure on, using a pushed pass already to challenge Kankos. Adam Ely having a good darts. Adam in the background there, running a little bit wide, will drop off the tail end. As I head up to the hairpin. See a bit of a fight here. Stevie Bean looks to try and recover any positions they can at this moment. The field all still tight together. See them through the final corner, nose to tail some of them. On the inside there, Stevie on the inside of Ben Beams. Won't have the momentum on the exit, maybe the damage costing them speed. As Zach Silver's into the pits once more, unfortunately for them. Christian Overstreet's staying out, but a long way off the pack. As we see Stevie still trying to attack here. We'll go a little further up as the two Adams now nose to tail, trying to fight Adam Ely with the tight line. Will they have the momentum though? They'll still have the inside if they want it for the right-hander. Late on the brakes. But the other Adam's going to try and hang it the long way around. They'll have the inside for the left-handers coming up. But can Adam Ely try and sneak back to the inside? Not quite. Who's that? That's one of the cars. That's Lucas Smits running wide into the wall and collects Adam Ely as they try and rejoin. Unfortunately, Adam picking up quite a bit of damage there. Lucas Smits into the wall. Heavy second time, and Adam Ely with the damage, not able to slow the car down. Runs wide, gifting a few places up. Drops down to P11. What was looking to possibly have been a good race for Adam, for Ely, has unfortunately gone wrong. Kankos now challenging Jacob Hine. The only car that separates them and Sean McArdle, who remember fighting for the lead of the AMS Championship, though not able to get the move done. Kankos will have to sit back in line. Let's go on board with Kankos as they try and find a way past the pro driver. Again, not in the same class, but that overall position is something that they want, and they need to get the pass done if they want to try and catch Sean McArdle. Of course, remember, the top 12 positions from this race will be reversed to set the grid for the final race. So currently Ben Myatt in that provisional reverse grid pole position. Can any of the other drivers chase it down? Try and catch up. Lucas Smits has DNF'd. Quite even usage of pushed pass through the first few laps so far. As we switch a little further back to the other Adam. Closing up on Uri Shore. It looks like it's the AM drivers at the moment that are attacking. Except for Stevie Bean, who's trying to recover. Good run with the slipstream here from Adam. Uri defends the inside. Adam is good, trying to hang it the long way round, though. Has actually kept it there. It'll still be the outside here through the right-handers. A little bounce on the inside curb for Uri. And Adam will have to fall back in line, but Uri a little bit deep there. Gets onto the grass, but is able to pull the car up and not open too much of an opportunity. They'll further back. Adam Ely making a move on Ben Beams, who runs a little bit wide onto the grass. That's one place back for Adam. Up into P10. And we'll try and go chase after Stevie Bean. Both of them with their damage. But we go back to the other Adam in P7. Final podium position within the AMS class. Looking to the inside, gets the nose alongside. Uri trying to squeeze them down to the apex. Will just about hold in front with the outside line. Yuri not going to give this one up easily. Jacob's starting to get into a bit of a rhythm, breaking away a bit from Kankos. As Lucas Smits has got back going in the race, but he's over a lap down. It's actually in between Kankos and Yuri, as Stevie Bain has had a mistake, has dropped back and has allowed Adam Ely to get in front. Ben Beams trying to capitalise too. He's going to try and get the exit here. Neither of them opting to use their push to pass to defend nor attack. We'll go back to Adam, who seems quite strong in this middle part of the track. Unfortunately for them, it's probably the most difficult part of the track to try and make an overtake on. Jacob Hine closing up to Sean McGardle. Will be looking to put themselves on the overall podium. And can see on the timing chart is saving a push to pass for later on the race to try and take advantage of that. Gained nearly half a second that lap on Sean, with the personal best lap of the race. Meanwhile, a little further back, Stevie with a run on Adam Ely, looking to the inside of the first corner, decides to back out of the move, takes a big whack on that inside curb, big two-wheel moment, runs them out pretty wide. Fortunately, move won't work for them. Let's go back to Jacob as we're closing in on Sean McGardle. Kankos can see how close they are, can see a fight that is beginning to brew, using their push to pass to try and close themselves in. Wants to get themselves close enough to take advantage of anything that might happen in this battle. As Adam finally gets the move done for P6 on Uri. In that middle section of the track mentioned, that's where they seemed strongest, and it's finally helped them. Meanwhile, Ashhill struggling a little bit for pace at the moment. Sean McGardle closing in on them, feels the need to use a push to pass here as they come across the line. Look at that, Sean, nearly 7/10 quicker than Ashhill last lap. Maybe the pressure from Hine helping Sean just focus in that little bit more, push that little bit harder, and find a little bit more pace within themselves. Getting on the throttle a little too early there. Sean had to back out of it. Cost them a little bit of momentum up the straight. Much later on the brakes than Ashhill. Careful not to run into the back. As meanwhile, Adam Ely and Ben Beams have had it coming together. Unfortunately, that drops Ely back down the order. And Chris Overstreet, who already got past Ben Maya into the provisional reverse grid pole position, now up to P11. Not too bad here from Overstreet. Wasn't a good start, unfortunately, for them, but making up places. Ben Beams now off again, and that's Chris Overstreet up to P10 overall, 5th within the AMS class, taking advantage of other drivers' misfortunes. As meanwhile, Sean McGardle has made the move into the final corner on Ashhill, has got themselves into 2nd place overall, and now Jacob Hine can sense a 2nd place within the pro class just in front of them. Unfortunately for Kankos, that means that's another car between them and their championship rival. see the drivers following each other, bumper to bumper. Don't think Ashil is quite done with Sean McArdle. They're starting to use those push passes a little bit more frequently as we're getting towards the end of the race. Just over 3.5 minutes left, plus 1 lap. As Adamide has had more issues, unfortunately. Trying to get themselves going again. Will want to get themselves going before Ben Myatt and Zach Silver catch up. It might not be the positions they want to fight for in this race, but they're still important. One of these 3 drivers will be included in the reverse grid, but only one. 2 of them will miss out. Zach Silver doesn't want to be the one missing out. Is trying to go round outside Ben Myatt. They come together on the apex. Ben Myatt sliding just a little bit wide as they're late on the brakes. And Zach Silver up to 13th now to go chasing after Adamide. Back to the start-finish straight now with the top drivers. Jacob Hine closing in on Ash Hill and starting to apply the pressure, but time is running out. There is 3 laps left in the race. Defensive from Ash Hill. Runs a little bit deep, but Jacob Hine not able to find the space on the inside. All of them lighting up their push to passes. Ash Hill is going to cover the inside, decides to go back to the racing line, and Jacob is going to send it on the brakes and just park it on the apex. Ash trying to get the cutback, just makes the rear bumper of Jacob, but Jacob a little bit wide here, opens the door for Ash Hill, who does not waste the opportunity, slots it down the inside, runs a little bit wide though, and Jacob back to the inside, side by side as they run up the hill. Jacob showing Ash the grass, but Ash keeping their foot in it, is going to have the inside for the long right-hander. Jacob trying to hang it the long way round now, and now that becomes the inside once again, more door-to-door contact. And Jacob just about gets in front, slotting that gap across the front bumper of Ash Hill. Ash running a little bit wide. That opens the door for Kankos to get to the inside, maybe trying to set the exit up. But another car getting in the way. It's side by side as they head to turn 1. Kankos on the inside. Gets on the brakes early. And Ash Hill, a little bit braver, will hold on to 4th place. And we'll have to close a couple of car lengths now to Jacob. Anton looking for a space on the inside of Ash Hill in case any little mistake opened the door for them to make that move. Further back, CVB is making a move on Alex Wood for P8 overall. But we'll stick with this battle. You can see the different lines through the left-hander. Jacob Hine, Ash Hill both running a little bit wide. Kankos has a little bit of a run up the hill here. Not enough to make any move. Just opening up a little further to the left, opening up this long right-hander as they try and close in. Though Kankos, only one more push to pass left. Not close enough for a dive at the final corner. I have to imagine this is where we'll see everyone use the push to pass. Not Ash Hill. Ash is saving 2 for the final lap here. Kankos is using their final 1. Defensive goes Ash Hill as they head towards T1. Will Kankos trying to hang it round the outside? They try, but they can't keep their car alongside there. And no more push passes will make it difficult for Kankos to get themselves in front. But a mistake from Ash Hill. Losing the rear end in that tricky braking zone opens the door, and Kankos is through. With this being the final lap, and Ash Hill over a second back, they won't have the time to catch back up. Meanwhile, a little further back, 2 damaged pro cars fighting out over P7 or 4th place within the pro class. Stevie trying to lick to the inside. Is he gonna send it? No, he's a little too far back, but skirts Ure off the road, runs in very deep, and will drop 2 positions. 1 to Stevie, 1 to Alex Wood. Two crucial mistakes on the final lap, costing positions. But I am in front. Again, another driver who has had few errors, if any, this race. Hasn't quite ran away with this race. The gap only, I say only, 3 seconds is still a fair gap. But you consider the fight that Sean had to get into second, you'd expect it to be a little bit more. One final push to pass out of the final corner, and once again, for race 2 here, it is Johan Karlzak that takes the win. 3 seconds has Sean McArdle, who leads the pro class and is putting in a statement that they want to take the AM Championship. Jacob Hine will take third, Head Kankos in fourth. But what a race once again. Zach Silver, though, hasn't given up on a potential reverse grid pole position. Closing up on Adam Ely was 1.6 seconds quicker last lap around, but only a few corners remain. Both of them with push to passes. Zach Silver, quite a lot. Could have had a lot more to use, and maybe if he did use a few more of them, maybe he could have been a little bit closer. Maybe he could have taken reverse grid pole position. But as it is, Adam Ely comes through for 12th place and will be reversed to pole position for race 3. Zach Silver will miss out and will be starting down in 13th place for our final race. And in 14th place, Ben Myatt, who seems to be coasting to the line. Oh dear, Ben. Luckily, quite elevated this track is, and the final part of it, downhill for Ben to coast to the line. Though even that does not seem to be quite good enough. So as Ben makes the final crawl to the line, it's Johan Karlzak that took the victory over Sean McArdle. Good fight from Sean to get up to P2 overall head. Jacob, who will have to settle for P3. And Kankos gets up to P4. Last lap mistake for Ashhill costing them in that position. They'll fall to P5. Other Adam in P6 will stay in front of Stevie Bain in P7. Good qualifying, unfortunately, that early incident dropping them to back of the field. Not a bad recovery, though, to get back up to P7. Alex Wood would take P8 ahead of Uri Short in P9. Chris Overstreet takes a top 10 ahead of Ben Beams in 11th. He'll be starting on the front row alongside our final race pole sitter, Adam Ely, who finished in P12. Zach Silver is finished in 13th. Ben Myatt not finishing that final lap. Not quite enough momentum to coast the line. Was in 14th. And then Lucas Smits down in 15th place. So just one more race to go this evening and one more race to go this series. A lot of racing action, quite a bit of chaos, but certainly good racing action throughout, especially when it has come to these final reverse grid races. I couldn't tell you what we have in store for this final race. It could be a lot of chaos, it could be a lot of great racing, it could be something in between. Either way, we will find out soon enough. So then, plenty still to fight for in the overall championship. We have that mid-pack in the pro class, the AM Championship itself. Adam Ely on pole position, remember, ahead of Ben Beams. Christian Overstreet up in P3. We'll be hoping to survive. Uri Shore in P4. Alex Wade in P5. Stevie Bain in P6. other Adam in P7, Ashil in P8, Anton Kankos in P9 in front of their championship contender. We'll be hoping to keep it that way with Jacob Hine in P10, Sean McGardle in 11th, a couple of spots back from Kankos, and Johan Karlzak dominating this evening so far. Will have some work to do from 12th on the grid. Zach Silver, Ben Myatt, Lucas Smith round out the grid as the lights for the final time this series are about to come on. The engine revs rise once more. And away we go for the final time with the IDTTs. It's a great start from Ben Beams, who will take the lead into T1. Uri Shore trying to find a way through, is up to P3, but we'll have to settle with that now. A bit of contact further back, but looks like everyone has survived and is still going into the tight section where it tightens up. One car onto the grass, that's the yellow car of Ash Hilder, who's dropping a couple of places. And that's one car getting spun off. That is Christian Overstreet, unfortunately. Will not be able to take advantage of that great position and will drop back. See there, Johan trying to get a run on Adam as it's side by side behind Zach Silver and Ash Hill fighting side by side. Zach's thinking about a move on Johan, thinks better of it in the end. To Johan already having to climb the curb a lot as is, gets into the back of Adam ever so slightly. The car twitching ever so much, but the front wheel drive coming in clutches are now 3, nearly 4 wide through the back end of the circuit. Uri Shore into the fence up ahead, more cars into the fence, more than I can count at this time. Stevie B and being one of them, who unfortunately has picked up damage for the 3rd time this evening and will be falling down the pack. Into the open hairpin, it is still Adam Ede that leads ahead of Alex Wood. Ben Beams has fallen to 3rd with Jacob Hine pursuing them in 4th place. Gets to the inside of Ben Beams here and will take P3. Ben Beams getting a bit scared there, turning towards pit entry, but will carry on without pitting. An incredibly frantic start by his Jacob Hine has taken best advantage of it as Johan continues attacking. Will get the move done on Adam, who gets into the back of Johan. Big save from Johan, who does make it to the tires thankfully, for Johan's sake, giving a bit of leeway to them. But will drop Johan back a little bit. They're in front of Sean McGardle, who is in front of Kankos. Kankos hasn't had a good start, is down in P12, and it looks like the AM Championship might just go the way of Sean McGardle. CVBN trying to make a move on Adam. And in the background, Kankos trying to make a move on Ben Myatt, but Stevie that gets into the back of Adam. Adam, that rear bumper must be quite dented at this point. 2 times in 2 laps, side by side contact between Kankos and Ben Myatt there. And Ben, maybe a little bit distracted, gets onto the grass. I'll take another trip to Barrier. Bit deep on the brakes there for Adam, allows Stevie to close up. As we're only 3 minutes into the race. Our leaders coming to the end of lap 2. Jacob Hine hunting down for the lead, as Ben Myatt is taking a trip into the pits. Uri Shore in the pits as well. Jacob Hine on the back of Alex Wood. Alex Wood opening the door. Doesn't want to fight too hard with Jacob Hine. Knows they're quicker. Doesn't want to lose the time. Wants to do everything that they can to hold on to the best position possible. A little further back, Johan using a push to pass here, trying to close up on Zach Silver, both of them in the pro class. Zach not making it easy, yet saving a push to pass there. Both of them closing up on Ben Beams. Johan will try and use Ben Beams to maybe open an opportunity, thinking about going up the inside. Not quite close enough, is very wide there is Ben Beams, but will cut back for a better exit. Or will they? Zach just held up a little bit there, opens the door for Johan, who does get themselves alongside, but to the outside for the final corner. Can Johan get a good cutback here? Is going to try for it, both of them onto the push to pass, and looks like Johan has just about got the nose alongside. Zach Silver on the outside for T1 as Johan draws in front ever so slightly. Zach leaving a year's worth of space on the inside. Does make sure they avoid contact, but means that Zach will have to slot back to P6 with Sean McArdle just behind. Jacob, though, has now caught up to Adam Ide and starting to put pressure on for the lead. Look at my push passes Adam has used already. Already down to 7 remaining. Jacob Hine looking to the outside. Is going to try and hang it the long way around here. Try and get the inside for the left-handers coming up, and looks like he has. There's not much Adam Ide can do about it. How hard is he going to fight? He's going to try to hang it in round the outside, squeezing Jacob to the inside. A little touch between the two of them, but Ide holds on. Jacob Hine will have to try another time. Look at that, Alex Wood closing up, rubbing their hands most likely mentally, thinking that they might be able to get a position or two from this. Jacob trying to poke the nose to the inside, but the door shut in front of them. Looking every which way they can to find an opportunity. Adam, they running a little bit defensive, a little bit tighter into the final corner. Will that compromise their exit a little bit? Looks like a little bit of a good run for Jacob Hine here, but neither of them using their push to pass. But with the slipstream, Jacob still has a run. Looks to the inside, but isn't far enough alongside. Has to back out of that move. Let's go on board with Jacob Hine as they continue challenging for the lead. Adam Ide doing well, not giving this one up. You can see Jacob closing in on the brakes, both of them using a push to pass here. Jacob is gonna try and send it. It's a late move. Adam sees it coming, will leave them the space, but Adam this time will be the one on the inside for the left-handers. Jacob is gonna squeeze him, is gonna try and hang it around the outside. Do what Adam did last lap. Jacob runs a little bit wide and Adam keeps the nose in subsequently. And Adam, tries to close the door on the exit and just about gets away with it. A little bit of rubbing. For these two, rubbing is certainly racing. Jacob into the rear bumper of Adam ever so slightly, in once again as they come through the left-handers. Jacob gets to the outside. There's more contact between the two of them as they come to the final corner. It seems like all gloves are off. Adam opening up the entry to the final corner. Will try and get a bar run on the exit. Not using a push to pass. Look at everyone around them, all on the push to pass. I think Adam, with that decision, has given up the lead of this race. Alex Wood is going to try and take advantage, looking to the inside of turn 1, but isn't quite able to. Johan is going to try and get the cut back here. Will get to the inside, and Alex has no choice but to leave the door open. Through into third place goes Johan as they're chasing for their third win of the evening to make it a perfect evening if they can. Adam still hasn't given up on the lead of the race. Trying to challenge, trying to close back in on Jacob as they all use a push to pass out of the hairpin, or at least the top 3. But Adam, though, starting to fall back. It looks like Jacob is clear. He will see Johan, though, in third place and will know that he needs to make the most of this moment. Open that gap as much as he possibly can, because when Johan gets past Adam, he will chase him down for the lead. He will not give it up, will not make it easy. But first, Johan has to get past Adam, and we've seen how much Adam fought for it in front of Jacob. Johan getting into the rear bumper of Adam. Jacob on the push to pass this lap. Over 5.5 minutes remain. 5 laps to go in the race. Adam Ely only has 4 more push to passes. It seems like a losing battle for them, but at least Adam can hold his head up high knowing he did everything he could. Johan all over that rear bumper. Adam defending the inside. Again, both of them on the push to pass, chasing each other to the inside. Can Johan hang it round the outside here? He's gonna try to. I'll give him the inside for the left-handers, but that's not been the favoured position, at least between the battles between Adam and Jacob. Johan, though, has got themselves just in front and has shut the door on the outside and has got into second place. 1.5 seconds to close down to Jacob Hine. Will they be able to do it? Now, Alex Wood again, the next driver to challenge Adam Ely once again. Quite a queue of cars here. This is a battle from third all the way to P8. Fortunately, it looks like Lucas Smits and Uri Shore are both out of this race as Alex Wood gets a move down the inside and will take P3. Look at that. A lot of people using push to pass. Not Adam Ely, though. He can't afford to waste too many more. Zach Silver gets through as well. And Sean McGardle's going to try and get through. They on the brakes. Adam trying the cutback here. Will get the inside here. Jumps over the inside curb. And Sean McGardle not getting the move done just yet. Last lap around, Johan gained 3/10 on Jacob Hine and is continuing to gain more. Interestingly, a bit of a difference in the push to pass strategies as Sean McGardle gets a good exit using a push to pass now, and looks like we'll be up to 5th place overall, 2nd within the AMS class as Adam starting to fall down now, struggling with the lack of push to passes. That is a real tongue twister when you've been saying it for 6 weeks straight. Luckily for Adam, it seems like a class podium is still well within reach. About 7.5 seconds back to Ben Beams, who's the next Dam driver. He's maybe having a little bit of a fight with Kankos. Stevie Bain trying to fight past Ash Hill as Adam Ely runs wide there. And that's going to give an opportunity to Ash Hill. Stevie trying to pick out which side he can pass on. Will get the move done, but runs out wide. So does Ash Hill, and Adam Ely takes both positions back. Stevie still a net gain ahead of Ash Hill. Adam Ely getting away with that final corner mistake, with the fact the 2 pro drivers passing them also getting through. But Stevie Bain's not going to waste any time to put on another charge. He's going to try and hang it around the outside of this hairpin. It's not quite going to work out. Actually does get themselves alongside with a bit of a better exit. Adam gives the space, holding the inside into this hairpin. Runs it in a little bit deep, trying to run Stevie a little bit wide. But Stevie's now going to have the inside here and will get in front. And that's P6 now for Stevie. Gap out front, closing down. Last lap, another 4/10 gained for Johan. Jacob using all the exit of the final turn. I don't think that's going to be too beneficial to them. But you can see Johan is starting to run out of push passes. 2 laps remain. It's just over 3/10 this time Johan gained on Jacob. 1 more lap and Johan should be on the rear bumper. Though how many pushed passes will he have remaining? That's the question. Is Adam Ely incident at T1? and unfortunately has dropped down to P8. Luckily, the gap between them and Ben Beams opened up to over 11 seconds. They're able to get going again without losing out on that class podium. But yeah, we'll be a little bit disappointed with that, I'm sure. Meanwhile, Zach Silver making a move down the inside of Alex Wood to take the final overall podium spot. And we'll be looking to pull away. Sean McGardle will be chasing down Alex Wood, see if they can take a final AMS class victory to help cement the championship within the AMS class for Sean. Whether they'll be able to do it, that is another question. With just over a lap to go, Jacob Hine has 4 push to passes remaining. Johan has 2. Both of them use one of them out of the final corners. oNiD off into the grass once again, struggling with the damage, dropping off the podium, unfortunately for them. And that promotes Ben Beams to a podium, who's trying to fend off ahead of Kankos. Ben on cooldown from the push to pass, will be vulnerable heading towards T1. Finally it becomes available, uses it immediately to try and negate the advantage of Kankos. Kankos now 1 push to pass remaining. Ben Beams has 3 to use this lap whenever that cooldown expires to try and hold on to the class podium. At the front of the field though, Johan a 10.5 slower than Jacob last lap around. The gap seems to be opening up. It seems like Jacob Hine will be able to hold on for the final race victory of our Audi TT series. Further back, the final podium in the AMS class. Kankos used their last push to pass, and is certainly putting the pressure on. Ben Beams is trying to find a way through. Will they be able to find a way into the hairpin? Are they going to be close enough? No, it doesn't seem like it, but they're opening up the right-hander a lot more than Ben Beams is. Maybe there will be a way. But meanwhile, at the front, Jacob Hine will come through and take the 3rd race victory of the evening, final race of the season, preventing Johan from making a clean sweep this evening. He'll have to sell for 2nd. Zach Silver takes 3rd ahead of Alex Wood, who will take the AM class victory in 4th overall. Sean McArdle might, I believe, be the champion in the AMS class, but with that drop round, we'll have to wait to confirm. Stevie Bain will take P6, holding on ahead of Ashhill in 7th. Ben Beams gets the final podium place in the AMS class, hanging on in front of Kankos. oNiD takes 10th. Unfortunate, was holding on so well, but a couple of mistakes late in the race saw them drop down. They'll be ahead of Christian Overstreet, the other Adam, in P12. Ben Might down in 13th. His luck never came this season. Lucas Smith's disconnecting, saying that their shifter broke, which is a real shame on the final race of the final round of the championship. And Uri Shore also having issues as well, not finishing. But that is the final race results after some great racing, some very intense racing indeed. And it wasn't easy for anyone, especially those on the podium. I mean, look at the positions they gained. They had to work for that one. And they certainly did. So with that is another Tuesday season done here. The ITTs, they certainly made for some great racing. very eventful, bit chaotic at times, but certainly very, very enjoyable. And that is it for the Audi TT Trophy. 6 brilliant rounds. Of course, starting 6 weeks ago at Oulton Park. A very, very messy races back at Oulton Park. But then we went to Knockhill, a very tricky circuit, but certainly made for some great racing. Road Atlanta, fantastic racing. Those three-way fights for the victories between Johan, Alfie Bevan, and James Pavot, all amazing. The slipstream battles at Watkins Glen, obviously with the short layout, without the chicane. What racing we got there! That was certainly amazing. And then Zolder, the chaos of the chicanes. But again, and amongst it, some great racing. And that continued on to the final round here at Club Motorsports. A new circuit and a tricky one, a tough one for sure. We've seen quite a few mistakes, but it was certainly a great feature of the calendar. Of course, Season 6 here at oNiD is not done just yet. We have a little bit more to come. Tomorrow, I'll be back with Tyler for the final round of... sorry, not the final round, the penultimate round, of course, the slightly delayed season for the SimHound Academy Cup after some issues. It'll be the penultimate round. And tomorrow, they are heading to Fuji, running in the classic layout without the chicanes. It should be some good fun. Great circuit, that kilometre-long start-finish straight is, good slipstreaming opportunity. It's quite a challenging track. Some of the long corners, the 100R long right-hander, and then that final sector. I remember doing my first race on the Mon Ultimate at Fuji. It was such a challenge. Blind apexes, braking while turning into tightening corners, especially the final corner where you've got to get that good exit and not leave yourself vulnerable on the long run to T1. It'll be a difficult challenge for our rookie and slower and inexperienced drivers as they take on Fuji in the GT3 and LMP3 cars, but should make for some good fun action. Then on Thursday, we have the final round of our iRacing Club Challenge in the MX5s. They're heading to another season finale at the Red Bull Ring. Hopefully that can make for some great racing. The long straights in the first sector towards turns 1, 3, and 4 should provide plenty of slipstreaming. And yeah, that should allow for some amazing racing indeed. Then on Sunday, we have the final round of our return to ACC. Back in the game with the GT3s. They're heading to the wonderful Watkins Glen. What a brilliant place to end out our return to ACC. Full 90 minutes worth of racing action. Should be some great fun racing. Should be some strategy calls too, with how Watkins Glen devours the tyres. So yeah, unfortunately we haven't been able to stream those Sundays. But yeah, it has been some great racing there from the drivers that they've been chatting about. So yeah, that is something when we come back next season. Or of course we'll have some socials over the next few weeks. While the seasons here are done at oNiD for 2026, we do have, or 2025, sorry, getting a little ahead of myself. The seasons are done here. We do have the social races between now and the end of the season. On the ASL courses side, we have just announced our socials. So make sure you join our Discord, follow us on SimGrid. You'll be able to find them right now. But just to let you know what they are, if you do want to join us for them next week, we have Porsche Group C cars at Mid-Ohio. Mid-Ohio, quite technical American track. The Group C cars, very quick, very difficult to drive. That I tried that combination. It is a lot of fun, very challenging. So we have that next week on the 2nd of December. The week after, on the 9th, we have the Formula 4s, the free ones, slightly older from RSS, and we'll be racing them around Donington. What a great track for those cars. Ben's, who we had on between first and second race, his favourite track. Yeah, that should make for some great racing. Then on the 16th, we have touring cars at Anderstorp for the 3rd week of December. Then we take a little bit of a break. We will have running over Christmas. We'll have a hill climb running for everyone to set their best times in an Estonia 25 at Scrandon Hill Climb. Should be interesting. Just join the server whenever you have the time, set your best times, and see how you compare to the rest of the community. And then in the final Tuesday of the year, the 30th of December, we have the return of Transits versus F1 cars. The Ferrari F2004s versus your regular bog standard Ford Transit. It makes for some good fun racing. We've done it a couple of times at Silverstone International and the Red Bull Ring National Circuit. It made for some good racing. This time we'll be heading to the Bahrain Outer Circuit. Good few straight rounds there for the F1 cars to make easy passes, but a few technical sections too that will make it difficult and should make it enjoyable in the vans as well. If you want to get certainly a unique experience, have some casual fun, make sure to join our socials over the month of December before we return for Season 1 in 2026, the week after. That is the 5th of January the 5th of January Season 1 begins for oNiD, the 6th when we return for Assetto Corsa. So once again, that is us. I'm going to do one check to see if the standings have been updated. I don't think they will. It does take a little bit of time to get them updated. But I will just check just in case. Doesn't look like I can bring them up on stream, but it has been updated on SimGrid. Sean McArdle does take the victory in the AMS Championship by 9 points over Anton Kankos. By 9 points. So close there. The other Adam takes P3 ahead of Alex Wood in 4th. Ben Beams in rounding the top 5 in the AMS class. In the pros class, actually, on drop rounds, James Pavot takes victory with the drop round calculation over Alfie Bevan. Of course, Alfie had to miss this week, missed one race last week. Missing that one race is what's cost him the championship. 7 points behind in the end to James Pavot. Both of them had great runs through the series. Johan would finish 41 points off the lead in the championship, closed it down, but just missed out. Jacob Hine would take P4 ahead of Ash Hill in 5th, Uri Shore in 6th, Stevie being very unfortunate evening for them down in P7, and Zach Silver, rounds off the Pro Championship and the overall championship. James Pavot takes that as well over Alfie Bevan, 20 points separating the two. Johan is 55 points back in 3rd ahead of Jacob Hine and Ash Hill. That rounds out the top 5. You're sure 3 points behind Ash Hill in the end of that overall championship. But yeah, so well done to James Pavot for winning both the overall and pro championships. Well done to Sean McArdle for winning the AM championship. Commiserations to Alfie for missing out in 2nd and Duncan Gus. Good fights from the pair of them throughout the season. What great racing it made. But yeah, that's us for this evening. Thank you all again very much for joining us, not just here this tonight, but throughout the Tuesdays through the season. For the whole season as a whole, if you've been tuning in on the other days, and as well for the whole year, if you've been following us. Thank you all very much, those who have been supporting us. Hopefully, we will see you again tomorrow as we get closer towards the end of season 6, and again when we return in 2026. Until then, enjoy the rest of your evening, take care, and we'll see you next time. Good night.